of my audience members made a very interesting comment. They said to me, be honest, you just don't want PlayStation to exist. I'll do my best to be honest with you. If you ask me, I'm not pro console simply because the value proposition is not there as much as it is on PC. However, if we look at Xbox and PlayStation, we all can agree and we know for sure that Xbox is more pro gamer than PlayStation is. My goal, my desire, the reason I'm making a lot of these videos is that we see PlayStation for what it is at the moment, and hopefully consumers can respond accordingly, and we can pretty much get PlayStation to the place where it's more pro-consumer than it already is. That's my biggest frustration when I talk with fellow PlayStation fanboys, is how can you continue to allow for PlayStation to be mediocre? Now, this is not to say that Xbox doesn't have its anti-gaming or anti-gamer stance in some issues, like paying to play your games online. I think both consoles, if they really want to start doing some pro-consumer stuff, they need to get to the point where you do not have to pay money to play games that you already bought. It is, in my opinion, just straight up asinine. Why would anybody want you to go ahead and give money to them for a game that you already paid for, so that you can play it over an internet connection that you also already paid for to your internet service provider? There is no inherent service that they're actually offering you there that should warrant them actually charging you money for it. Seeing that Steam and Epic Games, when people play on PC, do not require any fee from you in order for you to be able to play your games online. So what I've realized is it's best for me to actually play my titles on PC if I want to play them online, seeing that PlayStation wants me to pay them for PlayStation Plus. A subscription service, in my opinion, should offer benefits that maybe provide you games or provide you, say, some extra interesting things. Another thing is cloud saves. Both the consoles, I don't think they give you cloud saves for free. Now, I don't know about Xbox, but I know that PlayStation, if you don't pay for PlayStation Plus, you do not have cloud saves. Now, I get it. Cloud save seems to be like, a little outlier in a sense, but save files are literally kilobytes large. With the amount of data that PlayStation misplaces every year or is careless with, you would think that they would just basically say, you know what? Let's give you cloud saves, seeing as you like our ecosystem and as we require a lot of you to be online for doing a lot of things. Here, cloud saves for free if you actually want. This is a pro gamer move. Steam does this. This is why Steam is probably one of the most pro gaming platforms that you can find out there. Now, Epic Games also does the same thing, so let's not just leave it on Steam. Now, I don't know about Xbox if they do it for free, but I think it's probably something that if, PlayStation wants to actually come into, say, a more pro-consumer stance, they can actually put that out there. So if somebody is, say, not interested in playing any multiplayer games at this juncture and they mostly play single-player games, that person can have access to their, cloud saves whenever it is that they want. To me, if we don't continue to point out the things that PlayStation is doing in terms of being not pro-consumer, we're going to find ourselves in a very interesting place. Another thing, too, that I wanted to point it out in terms of this particular line of thinking is simply the fact that PlayStation needs to pretty much back away from money-hatting games that other people would rather play, because most of those games are already targeted, announced, or even, in a sense, being developed for their own console of choice. Them constantly putting what I think is a roadblock for other players who may want to play a game is anti-consumer. There's no need for you to go ahead and have a game which has already been announced for another platform and then pay money or give a benefit that will benefit just the PlayStation platform to own the game, so that it makes Xbox or any other platform who may want that game look really bad. Now, if the game belongs to them, like I've always said, it's their prerogative. They can do whatever it is that they want at the end of the day. They can pretty much take the game. They can give it away for free to their own fans. They can keep it exclusive. It's their rights to do so. They own the IP. So, should PlayStation exist? The answer to that is definitely yes. And I think the final point that this particular, comment actually may have, not considered is a world where PlayStation doesn't exist right now, with Xbox actually gaining a lot of ground in content delivery, popularity, being pro-consumer, is one that is very dangerous. You see, play a little bit of chess with me. If you have a strong competitor like Xbox leave the game, or if you have a strong competitor like PlayStation leave the game, it creates a vacuum. At that point, people who like playing on console lose the opportunity to be able to have strong options, lose the opportunity for competition to yield the very best scenarios in terms of that. Both of them right now still at least competing shows that console gamers, and even those who are not on console but affiliated or associated with the Xbox platform, get the best benefit of it. You see, Xbox faced a lot of criticism an entire generation. The Xbox One generation was literally years and years and years of Xbox under the microscope, under the hammer for not doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That level of scrutiny, that level of accountability has brought them to this point where they have decided that they're going to go full-blown value proposition. If PlayStation does not go through even half that measure, how are we going to get anything better than the PlayStation that we already have? Unless some of you are, in a sense, satisfied with what PlayStation is doing so far, but it doesn't compare to what the competition is doing. Hence, there's no reason for anybody to say that they're satisfied with it because it doesn't fulfill any of those things. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I think, this is where my goal is. This is what I want to actually see achieved in terms of the console gaming conversation. The pro-consumer aspect is the most important thing. And this is why Steam continues to be heralded everywhere, because they have a strong pro-consumer stance. It's not just because, PC players are just trying to say, because it's PC. No. Steam right now, I fear a lot for Valve and Steam, because if the current management, who has always maintained a pro-consumer stance, if they decide that, at some point maybe they decide to retire and they don't mentor people who carry this same approach, what we might see is a Steam that's drastically different, if you get what I mean. So this is why another thing, again, Good Old Games exists. They are a pro-consumer platform where their job is to work with developers, publishers, and whomever, and try to convince them of a good proposition to be able to put their games on a platform where gamers can truly own the game. Because right now, even Steam uses a lot of DRM stuff, and you're actually renting your games from Steam, just like you are PlayStation and Xbox. Save the physical copies, which gives you even a better advantage. But we haven't had that on Steam, lately. So those DRM rights, yes, they're there, and Steam doesn't have, anything over them. But I wish Steam would actually work more in getting these publishers, or giving them an incentive to actually allow for their games to be owned by the gamers out there. They could do a little, revenue adjustment and say, hey, man, if your game is 100% owned, here's a few more percentage, tokens for you, where you don't got to give us 30%. Now you got to give us 27.2%. Some developers are going to be like, what the heck? Get lost, de nouveau. They're going to put their games out there. And I think that's an idea that Steam can implement. And I'm going to make a separate video on that because I think it's very critical. However, Good Old Games, they've gone in with that particular notion, and that gives them a pro-consumer stance. So PlayStation right now has not done anything, in my opinion, that is pro-consumer to the level of competition with Xbox. They're still lacking behind. Epic Games right now has not even moved to a much more pro-gamer aspect in terms of its platform. This is why it's getting roasted compared to Steam. So, do I want PlayStation to cease to exist? No. I want them to actually become a much better company in terms of how they actually engage with gamers and provide services that I think are fair and remove stupid paying to play online. This thing's dumb. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.